welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am going to be explaining what is a property in JavaScript. But before we get started, if you're new to my channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so to get started in today's episode, I need you to open MDN and also W3 Schools. I already have them open in here. Now, in MDN, I want you to jump into this search box right here, and I want you to type in there JavaScript property, okay? And then if you have open W3 Schools, I want you to jump into the JavaScript section, scroll all the way down here, and go to where it says JS objects, and you're going to click where it says object properties. Okay. And as well, I need you to have open the website that we have been coding so far with, which is this one that I have open in here. I also have open my source code. Okay. Okay. So first, let's get to know what is a property in JavaScript. Let's go to MDN first. So in here, as you can read, a JavaScript property is a member of an object that associates a key with a value. Okay, that's what a property is. Now, a property consists of the following parts. It says that it has a name, which is also called a key. It has a value, which can be any JavaScript value. And I already show you what type of values we have. That's what the data types that we have, right? And then it has some attributes which specify how the property can be read or written. Now, I'm not going to get into the attributes just yet because for that, you need to know a little bit more in how the object actually works and functions and some other stuff that I haven't teach so far. So we're going to leave this attributes for later chapters in this course, okay? So first of all, let's go ahead and let's talk in human language. What is a property? So if you go to your code right here, a property, and we had actually the example of the object that we created in our previous episode. So this is the object, right? The object, it has the name of person. Now this object has 1, 2, and 3 properties. So this is a property, this portion of code right here. That's what it's called, a property. Okay, so the property name, the property age, the property occupation. As you can see here, it says a property consists of the following parts. A name, which is also called a key. So they are talking here about this name right here, or it could be this age right here, or it could be this portion that says occupation. So these are keys, right? Now, they also has a value, which can be any JavaScript value. Okay, a property that has a function as its value may also be called a method. We're going to cover methods in later chapters, so don't worry about that for now. But it also has a value, so it has a key, which it could be the name, it could be the age, it could be the occupation, or anything else that you might want to add into an object. And it has a value. So the value here is John, which is a string. The value here is 25, which is a number. Right, so it can be any type of value that we have teach so far, that you have actually learned so far in our previous episodes. So as you can see, that's what a name is and that's what a value is. Now for the attribute section, as I said, we're going to explain that later on. Okay, so for now, you know what a property is. Now, what can you do with a property, right? Because now that you know what a property is, you might want to know, hey, but what can I do with this? So the properties can help to add something into the object which was not there previously. We can change information or values of properties that already exist, or we can delete properties. That's what we can do with JavaScript. So you might be asking, how would you do that? So if you go ahead and you click here in W3 Schools, even if you have already jumped into the object property section, let's read first a little bit. So in JavaScript property, it says here, right? So properties, as I said before, are the values associated with a JavaScript object. A JavaScript object is a collection of unordered properties, and a properties can usually be changed, added, or deleted, but some are read-only, okay? So how can you go ahead and actually change a property? let's start with adding properties. How can you add a property first? So it's very simple. You go ahead and you grab the name of your object, then you put the operator dot here, and then you call your new property whatever you want, and then you will give a value to it. So let's do that in our code. So let's say we already have this person right here. It has a name, it has an age, and it has an occupation, right? So let's say that we want to add something else to that person. So we can go ahead and we can simply say here, okay, to the person, to the object, right? I want to create a new property for it. And the property that I want to create will be called, let's say, nationality, right? So we can do nationality. And then we are going to add a value. It's going to be another string. And the nationality will be, I don't know, let's say India, right? So we're going to say the nationality is India. Now I'm going to hit save. If I go back in here in the document, right, and I console.log the person, which is this object, right, nationality, nationality. Now I should be able to see this in my console right here. So let's hit save, going back to our code, refresh, and boom, you see now our object has a new property, which is called nationality. You see that in here? Because we just added one in there. Okay, so that's how you can add a new property in here. As you can see, we use console.log and we display the object nationality. Now up here, we do not have a nationality for this object, but since we added a new property in this line right here, now we can console.log that person nationality. Now, another thing we can do here is change the actual value of something existing in the object. So the only thing we do is type in person dot name. Okay, so to the object named person dot name, to the property name, we want to assign a new value to it. So we do the following. We just do the assignment operator, which is equal, and then let's say that we want now the name to be Mary. Okay, so let's console.log. Now the person, which is as you already know, the object dot we want to know the name. Now let's see if the name is still John, because it was John up here. Would we just change it in here? So let's hit save, going back to our code, refresh, and boom, now this person name is not John anymore, it's Mary, as you can see there. Let me show you just one last thing that it can do with the property. So let's say that we want to delete something. We want to delete something here. Let's say that we want to delete the person's occupation, right? We can do that by simply typing in delete, then space, and then we type in person dot occupation. Simple like that. And we close the statement. Okay, so console.log. Let's do console.log person dot occupation. There you go. So let me hit save, and now let's go back to our code and let's hit refresh. Now, as you can see, it says undefined. Before, when we console.log in our previous chapter, the person's occupation, he was his name was John, and he was a software developer. Now that we have added a new a property here, we know that his nationality is from India. We know that the name is not any longer John, it's Mary, right? So we change that as well. And now the occupation has been undefined, as you can see here, right? So right now, this person doesn't have an occupation. So if you want to reassign the occupation, you can go back here, right? And let's do that. You already know how to do it. I'll give you a moment to do it yourself and change the person's occupation to something else. So go ahead and do it now. You can pause the video and then go back here when you're ready. Okay, so I'm going to do it, and just so you can check and see if you did it correctly. Okay, so let's do that. Let's change the person, or let's add a person's occupation. So let's do person dot occupation, right? It's going to equal now to, so she is a graphic designer. Okay, so now let's console.log the person occupation again. Okay, and now it should not be undefined anymore since we added a new occupation, which is graphic designer. Let's hit save. Going back to our code, let's hit refresh, and boom, as you can see, it's already in there. Now we know that Mary is a graphic designer, right? There is way much more that you can do with properties, especially when we get into the attribute section. But for now, just know what a property is and the things that you can do with it, because this will be very helpful whenever we jump into our first project, so that you can see, how we can use everything, all the fundamentals that you're learning for JavaScript right now. I just want you to have a solid base of fundamentals, because if you know the basis of everything, then when you are coding and when you are thinking to generate a code to make a website work, this will be exactly what is going to help you to make things fast and think more logically. Okay. Well, and one thing that I did not explain and that you probably already know is how to access a proper property, right? But we did it in our previous episode, as you can see, using console.log. And then to access a property, you just have to type in the object name, right? Which is person right here. And then the dot operator. And then you use the property name, right? So we want to access to the person's name. We do console.log person.name, and then you access just like this using this portion in here, right? So that's how you can access a property. And then I already taught you how to change the properties and everything else. Now, remember that right now we are only using console.log because you're a beginner, but we can actually use some other methods and some other functions, and we can you go ahead and actually do way much more with properties. But for today's episode, I just want you to be aware in what is a property and exactly what you can do with it. So that's it for this episode, everybody. I hope that you liked it. Remember, if you have questions, drop them in the comment section below and I will reply as soon as I can. And remember that you can always ask Lixi. Bye, everyone, and see you again in the next episode.